Hey guys, Josh from soccerreviewsforyou.com bringing you part 2 of the 2016 SR4U Boot Awards, designed to summarize the best and worst releases of 2016. If you missed part 1, there'll be a little pop-up on screen, or you can click the first link down below in the description. That'll take you there. It's kind of the beginning of these Boot Awards, part 2 being the final video, which you're watching right now. So without further ado, let's get right into it. The most disappointing shoe of the year goes to the Adidas Messi 16 Plus Pure Agility. Now let me say this is still a very capable top-end shoe from a performance standpoint. It's by no means a bad shoe. With that being said, it is very disappointing, and the reason why I say this is, one, it is at the $300 price point, kind of the top price point from all the major brands at the moment, and if you're going to spend $300, I think there's a lot better options out there aside from the Messi 16 Plus Pure Agility, and you also have to take into consideration that this is not the most unique design in the world, because Adidas also has the X16 Plus Pure Chaos, which features the same internal tech fit system, the same lace cover system, the same sprint frame on the bottom. This one obviously doesn't have the external heel counter, and a little bit of an S-curve heel as well. With that being said, the way they implemented these features on the Pure Chaos versus the Pure Agility, I just think is a much better implementation of all of those technologies. The end result is a shoe that's more comfortable, the upper feels better quality and is much softer in my opinion, and also I just think it's a better performing shoe overall. So if you want something of this design type, the X16 Plus Pure Chaos is by far the better option in my opinion. The other thing that really kind of bothers me about this shoe is the fact that it is Messi's signature top-end model as part of his signature line, but he himself chooses to wear the model below it, the Messi 16.1, or at least something that looks like the 16.1. If you're going to be a big brand having a signature line from a high-profile athlete like Leo Messi, one could argue he is the best player in the world, or at least one of two best players in the world, and he doesn't wear that shoe that you supposedly designed specifically for him. That just doesn't look good as a brand, at least in my opinion, and I kind of see where he's coming from. Given the choice, I do prefer the 16.1 over the Pure Agility, and again, if you're going to have a line, no matter which brand or which name is behind it, the top-end model should be arguably the best, or at least as good as the model below it from a quality, comfort, and general feel standpoint. But for me, the Pure Agility just isn't as good as the 16.1, and it isn't nearly as good as other $300 models out there, including ones on offer from Adidas. So for those reasons, this is for me the most disappointing shoe of 2016. For the best colorways of the year, I had two picks, and it was two individual packs, one from Nike, one from Adidas. The first being the Adidas Stellar pack, and the other being the Nike Camo pack. Now, the reason why I picked these two shoes is kind of for different reasons, and this is very much a personal preference thing. Everybody has their own taste when it comes to colorways, but the reason why I really like the Stellar pack is the combination of the white, black, and gold. That's a color combo that always looks very, very good, and I just thought that this design and color scheme just looked very clean on pretty much all the models it was available on. With the Camo pack from Nike, I'm a little bit of a sucker for camo. I don't like wearing super flashy stuff, which is partially why I really like the look of the Stellar pack, but for me, the Camo pack I just thought was very cool, and that it did have something very different featuring camo across the upper. It was kind of cool that every model had its own different camo from a different country with different colors and general styling. And again, it's a way of making a shoe a little bit more flashy, but at the same time, it is fairly low profile, especially this particular one that I'm holding being the kind of green on green. It's a darker color overall and then accented with the black. I just thought it was a really cool pack in general. So for me, the two best colorway packs for 2016 were the Adidas Stellar pack and the Nike Camo pack. The worst colorway of the year for me is the Under Armour Speedform in the Mother's Day or Tutti Frutti colorway. Now, when I think of kind of the worst colorway, there were a lot of colorways in 2016, and there was quite a few that I personally was not that crazy about. But for me, the reason why I picked this as the winner is because I think this is the one shoe that I just wouldn't want to wear for whatever reason. It's just too flashy, too kind of unusual. The flower pattern on the upper, while it doesn't look bad, it's just too much in my opinion, and that's kind of the main reason why I picked it as the worst color, in that it is probably the one shoe out of the entire year that I just really wouldn't want to wear. So for me, worst colorway of the year. I'd be curious to hear what your opinions are though down below in the comments. The best limited edition release of the year for me is the What the Mercurial Nike Mercurial Superfly 4. I just thought that this was a really cool release in that it did kind of pay tribute to all kind of classic Mercurial colorways on both sides of the shoe. This is a theme that we have seen before in other kind of Nike departments, not necessarily in soccer, but for me, I just thought this was a really, really cool release. And Nike had a lot of good limited edition releases this year. The Pirlo Legend 6, the Black History Month Obra was pretty cool. You had the EA Sports Superfly 5 as well. Those are all definitely honorable mentions. But for me, the What the Mercurial Superfly 5, I just thought was a really, really cool release. The most controversial shoe of the year is, for me, the Adidas A16 Plus Pure Control, the first laceless boot to market, the first, I guess, mainstream laceless boot, if you will, because laceless shoes have been done in the past fairly unsuccessfully. This one, though, for Adidas has been a pretty good success for the most part, in that the popularity is quite high for this particular shoe. The reason why it's controversial is that more people are concerned more about the marketing and I guess the fact that it's laceless rather than the fact that this shoe, from a performance standpoint, I would argue at least, is not up to par with other top-end models, especially at the top $300 price point for all of the major brands. Now, the reason why I say this is because Adidas's marketing department is more or less kind of leading people on to believe that the fact that this is laceless offers some kind of a performance advantage, and that's not the case at all. The shoe's not lighter because of the laceless system. The shoe doesn't fit better because of the laceless system. It fits, but it doesn't necessarily fit all that well. The laceless system doesn't necessarily allow for any adjustment at all. You put them on, that's the way that it fits. You can't make it tighter, you can't make it looser. And because of that, a lot of people do have issues with the way these fit. You just never have proper lockdown. And my experience with this shoe, as well as the 17 Plus Pure Control, just hasn't been the most positive thing in the world. I think that you can achieve a much better fit and a much better performing shoe from something that does have laces, which I think a great example from the Adidas brand within the same line even is the A16.1 Prime Knit and the A17.1 Prime Knit. They feature Prime Knit uppers that are somewhat similar to what you're going to get on the Pure Control with a lacing system, and the shoes ultimately perform better, fit better, and are also a lot more comfortable. So again, while there's not necessarily anything that's majorly wrong with the Pure Control, there are better performing shoes out there for the same money or less. Again, a lot of people are more so just caught up in the fact that it's laceless, but don't really see past the fact that this isn't necessarily the best way of doing things when it comes to the best performing product that Adidas could possibly make. My personal favorite boot of the year for 2016 is the Nike Tiempo Legend 6. Now, I know I broke the rules a little bit in that this is only supposed to include releases from 2016, the Legend 6 being a 2015 release, but I wanted to also be very honest with you guys, as I've been with kind of all of these picks. My personal favorite shoe all year long has been the Legend 6. It was also my favorite shoe in 2015. My reasoning behind that is just because I'm a big fan of the concept behind this shoe in general. The kangaroo leather upper is something that I generally tend to have a preference for. I just like the softer, more kind of natural sensation that it has. But when you incorporate the one-piece design for the upper, as well as this internal support cage, it really does add that kind of structure and responsiveness that you wouldn't necessarily expect from a shoe that fits and feels as comfortable and I guess as natural as the Legend 6 does. I am more of a fan of low-cut shoes versus mid-cut shoes, and I really don't have any issues with the stud pattern and sole plate. This is a shoe that I put on, I immediately feel comfortable, it fits me particularly well, and I just like the shoe in general. There were plenty of brand new, really good models in 2016, but as far as which one was my personal favorite, it's still a current model, not necessarily a new release, but for me, personal favorite, it still is the Nike Tiempo Legend 6. Finally, the best shoe of 2016, in my opinion, was the Nike Magista Obra 2. Now, when I say best shoe, I don't mean that this is the best shoe if you're going to spend $300 on any model. You should ultimately pick your shoes based on personal preference. But for me, based on my own personal preferences, I thought the Magista Obra was the best of all the releases in 2016. My reasoning behind that, it really, really impressed me. This is a shoe that I thought the design was very, very interesting, but I was skeptical as to how good it would actually work. But for me, like I explained in kind of the earlier parts of these videos, winning the Best Synthetic Award, of course, I was really impressed with what they were able to achieve with this Flyknit upper, the 3D texturing system. The shoe fits a lot more comfortably than the original Nike Magista Obra, especially in the heel area. That's something that was kind of a major issue with the mid-cut models from Nike when they first came out. That's 100% solved with the Obra 2. I like the idea of making the more anatomically shaped collar on this particular shoe versus the other kind of mid-cut models from Nike. And again, it's just a really good package overall, a shoe that truly impressed me. And me being not a fan of mid-cut models, I would be very happy to wear these if it was my only choice. So for me, I think the best shoe of 2016, the best release of 2016, was the Nike Magista Obra 2. All right, guys, that is it for the 2016 SR4U Boot Awards. 2016 was a pretty interesting year for soccer cleats slash football boots, and I'm sure 2017 will be equally as interesting. So thank you so much for your support throughout the course of this year. I very much appreciate it. Of course, if you have any questions or comments regarding any of my picks in this video, leave them down below in the comment section, and I definitely will get an answer out to you. If you enjoyed today's video, be sure to support it with a like. Subscribe if you haven't already for daily videos on all the latest and greatest soccer gear. You can find all of my social media information linked down below as well. And other than that, guys, hope you enjoyed today's video, and as always, thanks for watching.